Well, top of the morning to you. How are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian McTrippett, otherwise known as the McFront Porch Conservative, and this is Front Porch Brunch, the St. Patty's Day edition, don't you know? Anyway, how y'all doing out there? Good to see you guys. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, TBA. He says, I love the green fedora. Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. I break this one out for special occasions. It's just it's a bit too small, but I keep trying to find this thing in the right size, and I never seem to be able to do it. So, well, one of these days. What are we days? WWG1 says, where are we going for brunch? McDonald's? Well, is either that or going to be the Family Dollar. I mean, after all, this is West Virginia. Just saying. Oh, my goodness. So glad to have you all here with me this morning on the Ides of March. Woo! Anyway, you know what all that means. So, oh, goodness. Give me a second here, folks. I'm a bit discombobulated. I have been running around all morning. I have company coming in this weekend, and between trying to prep the show and do basic housekeeping stuff, it's just left me a little bit harried this morning. So, taking a breath, pulling myself together. Woo Saba. Good to see you guys out there in internet land. Glad y'all are here. So much a pleasure. TBS is discombobulated. Well, what do you think is wrong with me, sir? Oh my goodness. All right, well, let's say hello to some folks. We'll start over on Rumble with the OG Wingnuts. WWG1's been dropping in links like a mad fiend. And yeah, I saw those last three. I'll take a quick peek at them. And TBA is here. Chris from My Morning Mayhem is in the house. Good to have you here, sir. Thank you as always for your support, love, and generosity. You're an extremely good dude. Although I won't let that get around. No, I'm just messing with you, man. Glad to have you in the house this morning. So let's see who's over on the YouTube side. Z Highness is here representing the 199. Good morning, my dear. Mwah. The Duke is in the house. Yesterday on Pi Day, the Eskimo Tribal Council voted Eskimo pie to be 3.1. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Let's see. Hang on. What is this? But for actual governmental lunacy, Brian, have on Brandy Cruz, YouTuber covering the appalling leftist going on in Washington State. She's great. All right. I'm down with that. Put that on my list of to-dos. Because Washington State is a very interesting place for so many different reasons. But okay. Jotting down myself a note. Appreciate that, Duke. After his arrest, Justice Department revealed that... Ooh... Also, the foremost authority on Archie comics and not just alleged raving. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Duke. Appreciate all that. Adam, one of my other favorite crazy Canadians, is in the house. Thank you for all your contributions. Gypsy is here. Mwah. Good morning, darling. Let's see who else be here. Up in Connecticut. Yes, good morning, my love. Mwah. Glad to have you here as always. Yeah, I saw that. Bless her heart. Of all the people in the world you can make that kind of a mistake with. Okay, well, now, wait a minute. For those of you who don't know what Gypsy is referring to, give me 1 second here. Because, and I felt so bad for this girl. Now, what Gypsy is referring to is before Trump boarded Air Force One the other day out at Joint Base Andrews, or I call it Andrews Air Force Base. He took a press availability because there's reporters there and he's always going to talk. And there was this young lady, and I'm not trying to speak ill of her. I mean, this happens to everybody at one time or another. So let me make sure that this is let me see if we got no, that's not the one I'm looking for. Hang on, folks. I promise I'm coming right back to you. I'm just trying to find a clip that does this truly justice. So Give me a second here, because the look on her face after this happens is just, you feel bad for the poor girl. Come on. Is this the one I'm looking for? Maybe. Come on. Okay, I think this is the one exactly that I'm looking for. Okay, yep, this is it. All right, sorry about that, folks. I should have had this one pulled up because this is just too good not to share. All right, found it. Oh, really? Ooh, I hadn't thought about this point, but you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay, let me put this up on screen and we'll show you what we're talking about. So before Trump boards Air Force One, he sees this gaggle of reporters standing off to the side. And they want to ask some questions, which Trump is, never one to not take on the press, or at least take the opportunity to talk to the press. So he gets out there and he's walking up. Now, notice this young lady right here in the trench coat. Okay. So that sets up what happens next. She's got this boom mic down here, right where I'm running the cursor. You can see it in her hands. Okay. So with that, I'm going to mute my mic. I'll play this. You guys tell me what you think.
Mr. President, obviously you're concerned.
So he looks off to the side, sees that this has happened to him, and is like, really? Anyway, back to it. Now, like I say, that's one of those moments in life. You're just, if it was an accident, you just want to bury your head somewhere and go, oh, dear God, why did I let this happen? If it wasn't an accident, it was the best placed form of a mic drop I've ever heard of. So yeah, you got that kind of nonsense going on. All right, let's get into some things. Oh, by the way, folks, things are looking up here on the electronic front porch. We have a potential new sponsor for the show, and he sent me some demos of his latest ad. Now that's true. That is true too. I'll give you that part of it, Gypsy. Going back to the microphone issue, I'll give you that. Why was this girl able to do that? I mean, somebody should have. Yeah. Chris from My Morning Mayhem over on Rumble says those boom poles can be pretty heavy, but still, that probably shouldn't have happened. No, it shouldn't have. Anyway, we've got a potential new sponsor here for the electronic front porch. Now, I haven't made a decision about whether or not I want to take them on as a sponsor. They did do me the courtesy of sending me some of their ads. So I didn't really have a chance to kind of chop them up and just look at them individually. But I thought, as an audience, maybe we want to check this thing out together. So with that, here is the potential new sponsor for the electronic front porch. Tell me what you guys think.
Hi, I'm Tom Michaels, and I want to invite you to my new laundromat, White's Only Laundry. We specialize in only washing your white laundry, so your linens, socks, and undershirts will look fresher than ever. By focusing just on white laundry, our prices are 25% lower than the other guys. Plus, get an extra 10% discount by singing our slogan at the register. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, now wait a minute. Hold on now. I'm not so sure about this. I'm starting to feel some overtone here. I could be wrong about that, but maybe the other ads, improve. Maybe the guy could have made a mistake, and maybe he realized, we could have worded that just a little bit better. So okay, I mean, let's give it a shot here. He's got a couple more of these ads, so let's see what he comes up with. Okay, we'll check it out. Like I say, he put I think 3 or 4 of these things together, and maybe he redeems himself enough that that we can find a way to have him as a sponsor on the show. But you guys know me, I'm pretty broad-minded. So with that, let's check this out. There's a second one here, so let's see what he's got.
Hi, it's Tom again from the laundromat that's been in the news, and I really want to apologize. I definitely should have realized that the name Whites Only Laundry sounds racist, is racist, and that was not my intention at all.
Okay, well, all right, so the guy realizes he's goofed up. Okay, I'm willing to give the guy a second chance. Let's see what he comes up with here, folks.
But we've changed the name and fixed the problem.
All right, here we go.
Whites Only Laundry is now no coloreds laundry. It still gets across that we can't wash colored clothes without any of the racial connotations of whites only. Plus, to make up for our terrible mistake, come on in before Friday and you'll get yourself a free t-shirt. Just don't wash it here because it has all these colors on it.
Okay, now, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on now. This is getting potentially worse here, okay? Oh man. Guys, I'm not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it here. I mean, that got worse than the first. So I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe now wait a minute. He says in his email he had a couple more different ads. Well, maybe numbers 3 and 4 get better here. So I don't know, man. Look, I'm a very forgiving guy. I'm willing to check it out. So, let's trudge on. Let us trudge on here. So with that, let's see if maybe this guy finds a way to make up for, obviously that ad was worse than the first one. Maybe we can find a way to get this guy as a sponsor on the Electronic Front Porch. With that, let's check it out.
Hi, it's Tom again. I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. Obviously, changing the name only made things worse, and neither one of those are appropriate names for a laundromat or any business or anything.
Okay. He's trying here, folks. He really is. I mean, bless his heart, everybody has a bad moment in life or two, It's quite obvious this man's trying real hard. I'm willing to, let's see what he's got. I mean, I'm willing to give this a shot here. So, all right, let's see what Tom's got this time.
But I'm going to make things right.
You better.
First, for the African American community, I've installed a special side entrance so that you'll know you're definitely welcome in my laundromat. Also, I've set aside separate but equally powerful washing machines exclusively for your use in the back of the laundromat, although they still only wash white clothes. And this time, to ensure I don't upset or disrespect anyone, I'm naming it after myself. And since my sister just had a baby, everybody come on down to Uncle Tom's Laundromat. Remember, whites only, no coloreds, and blacks enter through a special side entrance.
Okay. This is getting even worse, folks. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it here. I'm just not feeling it. Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, darling. I understand where you're coming from. So, is there one more here? No, we got them all. We apparently there were just 3 ads, folks. I think I'm going to make an executive decision here, and I know that sponsorships for a growing channel are very important, but I think it'd probably be better if I passed on taking Uncle Tom's Laundry on as a sponsor for the electronic front porch. I mean, yeah, it's a tough decision, but I think I'm going to let that one go. I'm going to let it go. I think it's the right thing to do. Yeah, I'll write him back and let him know that this is not going to happen. Just not going to happen. This is interesting. Really? 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 Oh my. No, Leanne, I have not lost my mind, darling. And good morning. No, we were offered an advertising opportunity here on the electronic front porch, and I wanted to look at the ads, and I've come to the conclusion, no, we're not doing this. Yeah, it's just, no, this is not happening. So, and by the way, thanks to WWG1 for finding this with his very warped sense of humor. Yeah, you can chalk that one up to when the idea in your head doesn't come out sounding as good as it really should. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Well, it is the 15th of March, which means it is the Ides of March, which means, of course, there are going to be all kinds of memes and jokes made about, this particular date in history. And not just memes and jokes, there's actually new variations on old things. For example, I know there's a lot of folks out in the audience that really love to cook and they love to prepare food. Did you know that there is a special derivation on how to make an old traditional favorite for your food? I mean, for example, did you know that, for this particular date that there is a new and interesting way how to make Caesar salad? I mean, I had never thought about this before. And you know what? I think this is a lot easier for people. I mean, seriously. I mean, look at that. I mean, nobody has to worry about getting a hold of the tongs to try to get their salad out of the bowl or anything like that. You can just, you can just take your knife, poof, down on the lettuce and just put it on your plate. That seems fairly reasonable to me. Fairly reasonable to me. So there you go. Oh goodness. And not just traditional foods that you can make at home. There are variations on commercials that are done just for this day. I mean, for example, there's a pizza company that thrives on doing special ads for the 15th of March. So with that, let's check out one of them, and you guys tell me what you think.
Pizza. Pizza, 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 pizza.
I don't know, guys. Call me crazy, but I just don't think Little Caesars is going to do very well with that ad. Yeah, I could be wrong about this. So, just saying. Don't see it happening. Don't see it happening. All right. What else do we have? Well, this one's kind of Ides of March related. It's you know what? I'll just let it speak for itself. Or let me set it up with this. Have you ever tried to come up with a really creative defense for why you did something? You ever done that? Well, some defenses are more creative than others. I mean, for example, I'll just let this one speak for itself. He died of natural causes. You pushed him off a roof. Gravity is natural. So, yeah, there you go. What? Wait. What do you mean Brutus was a patsy? What do you mean Brutus was a patsy? Seriously? You're going to go with that defense? Oh, gosh. Oh, my. Oh, my. Oh, Lord, Adam. Adam. Wrong in so many different ways, but I love you, brother. I love you, brother. TBA over on Rumble says Brutus was part of the deep state. Oh, my. Here we go with the conspiracy theories about Brutus. Oh, my word. Y'all are just awful. Just awful. Salty old fart 70 is in the chat and Rumble. Good morning, and a nice hat color for St. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate when you notice when I try to put on the effort. Oh, let's see. What else do we have here? Yes. Gentlemen, for those of you out there who are married, I know that sometimes there's a lot of give and take in a married relationship. And there are things you love doing, and there are things you don't want to do. And you're always trying to find new and different ways of how to get out of doing something. Let's just be honest about it, fellas, especially for you married guys, okay? Well, we here on the Electronic Front Porch are always trying to help you find ways to be able to better communicate with a significant other in your life. So for those moments when you don't want to do certain household chores, just remember, you can use this argument, and hopefully, it will avoid strife in your marriage. You know, look, personally, I don't know how well this one's going to work, but, we'll see what happens here. We will see what happens. So, yeah, whenever she wants you to do the dishes, you can just look at her and say, honey, I have no intention whatsoever of trying to participate in a woman's sport because I think it's illegal. And, I do ask this one favor of you married gentlemen in our audience. When you use this argument with your spouse, please let me know how it worked out. I would really like to know. I'm just saying. Oh, goodness me. What else do we have here? Yes. For those of you out there who are fans of rock and roll music, a lot of people have wondered how old Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards really is. I mean, it feels like he's been around forever, but nobody really, you know how these things go. Records are of a certain period of time get kind of lost in the ether. It feels like Keith Richards has been around forever. Well, now we can definitively say we know how long Keith Richards has been around. We just recently, in an archaeological dig, I guess over in Europe, someone found something, and they can now run down and confirm just how old Keith Richards really is. Apparently, he dates back to the early 12th century. So that puts in, let's see, 1140 AD, 1240, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. He's over, ladies and gentlemen, Keith Richards is almost 800 years old, pushing 900 if he makes it to 2040. I feel good I like his chances. So we'll see what happens. So apparently you're not going to use the whole illegal for men to participate in women's sports argument, I take it. Okay. All right. I can respect that. Totally. Totally respect that. All right. Hang on a second. WWG1 sent me 2 or 3 of them. I did not realize he'd snuck them in on me. So give me 1 second here. I got to check this out real fast. Oh, okay. Yep. That one we got to definitely talk about. And that's a good one. Hang on, folks. Give me 1 second here. Like I said, WWG1 snuck a couple of 3 of them in on me at the tail end. Did not realize he'd got him in, and I want to be fair to him. Okay, no, I can't. No, I just no. Funny, but no, I cannot do that. It's good, but it's a little itchy even for me. That one I'm going to save for HodgePodge stew, because that's just wrong in so many different ways, but ought to be talked about. Okay. All right. Getting back to the merry memes. Where is it? Daggone it, I just had you there. Okay. Yes. You know, everybody is trying to figure out, what do you do to get the Democrats to stand up and actually cheer for something? Well, believe it or not, folks, we think we have found a way to make that happen. If the guy up in the gallery had just held up even a cardboard cutout of George Floyd, I think the Democrats would have been willing to stand up and let people know how they feel. Look, with some people in life, you just got to know how to get to their motivations. I'm just saying. You know, that was the problem that night. If Donald Trump would have simply had a cardboard cutout of George Floyd up in the gallery and somebody would have held it up, no problem. You'd have had every Democrat on their feet. He didn't think to do that. And I'm surprised his staff didn't think to do it either. Crazy. All right, let's see what else we have here. Yes. In an effort to always do our best to further the education and the educational value of this show, we are always trying to bring new and different information to you, our listeners, to help expand your vocabulary, and just help everybody out, And with that in mind, we have a vocabulary lesson for the morning. We have a new word that maybe you have not heard about. It's recently started making its way into the lexicon of the American language, and it goes like this. Intaxication. That nice feeling you get when you receive a tax refund and you realize it was your money in the first place. Folks, I don't know about you, but to me, this is very good. This is very, very good. So, I'm going to hang on. WWG1 just sent me something else. What is this? Hang on a minute. Got to take down screens here. What did you send me, brother? No. It was the other one. It was the other one. No, that one I'm going to use. Which I know I have a very, so, that one I'm going to use. So I'll explain that here in a little while. Anyway, when it comes to perceptions of reality, how we perceive ourselves and what we actually are usually two different things. And especially when it comes to Canada these days. So, the Canadians have let's just put it this way. I think the Canadians have a very puffed up view of themselves. I mean, for example, when the Canadians protest us, they think they look like the top picture. The reality is, not so much. I'm just saying, we shall see. Somebody needs to have a talk with our brethren up north, or some of them anyway. Not Sean, not Kelly, not Adam. They got good sense. Chris from My Morning Mayhem says, that seems incredibly accurate about the Canadians. Yeah. Yeah. I can't say that you're wrong, my friend. I cannot say that you're wrong. Anywho, all right. What else have we got? I think we're gonna chalk this one up to truth in advertising. You know, it's amazing where some people will ply their trade, and you know, and it's also amazing the lengths of advertising they'll take to try to get their message out. I don't know, man. Look, I know that hoes work in a lot of different places. I did not realize that they were working in front of a hospital. Just saying. So, my goodness, hoes work here. You know. TBA says, hoes work here. Are they free? Now, how would I know that? I don't know. What are you saying? I have no idea if the hoes are free. What does this look like? A rendition of Money for Nothing? Oh my gosh. No, the chicks. I don't know if the chicks are free. Good grief. I'm the host. Well, not just because I'm the host does not mean I know whether hoes are free or not. And WWG1 is absolutely right. Hoes get paid. That's why they are professionals. So yeah, exactly. Good grief. Man, the stuff you get into on this channel, I tell you what. Oh, one last thing. Then we're going to get into our first story of the morning. Again, a lot of people have been trying. They have speculated. They have offered their opinion. They've given their insight. They've wondered just what it was that happened in the Oval Office that set Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky off when he was talking with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we have photographic proof. We know exactly what went down between these guys. And it was over something that you wouldn't think this would have done it, but apparently it did. Apparently they're playing a game of Monopoly and there was a dispute about hotels. You know, and now I understand what Trump meant when he said, you don't hold any cards here. I mean, look at that. I mean, you know, old Trump and JD, they got all the property cards, and old Zelensky, he's over here. He got nothing, man. He's got no cards at all. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. Crazy. Just absolutely crazy. So, my goodness. Well, now this is a distinct possibility. No hotels, but possibly biolabs. We're not saying, but we're just saying. Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody for the contributions, the memes, the everything else. And we're not done with some of those because there's some that will come up later on the show. But I want to get into our first story of the morning. And this, to me, is interesting. And, absolutely, Monopoly will get people fighting with each other. Absolutely, it will. Man, there's some people get real serious about that game. Woo! Just saying. This story kind of interests me on so many different levels, and I want to, I guess, get into a discussion of it. As you all are aware, the Congress passed a continuing resolution for funding the federal government through the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. They passed it Friday morning, and it went to Trump's desk, and Trump signed it before he went down to Mar-a-Lago for the weekend. Now, these things, over the past few years now, these continuing resolutions are kind of like a yawn. Okay, because there's a lot of drama, or maybe it's better to say kabuki theater. Okay, and I mean, people are prancing about on the political stage, and they're thumping their chests, and they're doing everything else, and it's a lot of drama, which in the end winds up being nothing. They pass something, we kick it down the road, yada yada. This year, I think, I could always be wrong, I think this year was different in two respects, and one of them is yet to be determined, and I'll explain that here in a minute. The first one where I think this was different is that you've got a president who says, guys, I've got a plan. I just need some time. We're doing cuts to the budget. We're doing a lot of different things. I need some time. I need some breathing room here. Look, none of us like this. The spending levels in this thing are absolutely atrocious. But if you give me some time, I can work it out. Pass it. Give me a clean CR. Keep the spending levels right where they are. Let's get it to September 30. You guys can work on the appropriations bills. I can impound the spending of the money. We can make this thing work. So that's from Trump's side of it. From the Congress's side of it, they're like, okay, we're keeping the spending where it is. We don't like it either. But okay, you're asking this of us. We'll do it. So that's the first difference. Now, whether it works out that way is not necessarily going to be dependent upon Trump. I mean, I think it's quite obvious to anybody watching this. Trump is doing his dead level best to cut spending. Okay? Truly he is. Now, how successful he's going to be in the long run, yet to be determined. Whether this works or not is in large part dependent upon the Congress. Because if they putz around and they don't do anything in the spring or the summer or August or September, and we're right back here like, well, we need a little more time. No. You've got April, May, June, July, August, September. You've got 6 months to work out the appropriations bills, pass them, and get them on Trump's desk. Okay? Yeah, well, no, I agree with you. I agree. So it's different in that respect. But the second difference is the one I want to focus on a little bit this morning. Because normally, as it's been in the past, it's the Republicans who wind up caving, and everybody gives the Republicans a cussing for it, particularly on the conservative side. And, nothing gets done, nothing changes, yada, yada, yada. The difference this time, this CR got through the Congress, not because the Republicans caved, but because the Democrats did. And more particularly, one Democrat above all else, who is catching 7 kinds of hell from inside of his own party. And that's what I want to start with this morning. I've got an article here from Politico.com, the government-sponsored news organization, Politico. Headline, let's see, is that as enlarged as it should be? Yeah, okay, it's about as big as I can make it. Uniting anger. Democrats fume over Schumer's handling of the funding fight. The longtime New York senator faces a precarious moment. Article by Molly Otterbein, Lisa Kaczynski, Jordan, I'm from West Virginia, I can't talk. Jordan Carney, no relation to the prime minister, I have no doubt. Elena Schneider and Braxton Booker, we have the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. Chuck Schumer is facing one of the most perilous moments of his Senate leadership career. The Senate Minority Leader came under heavy fire for a second straight day from Democrats enraged at him for backing a Republican bill to avoid a government shutdown, and fallout appears likely to last well past Friday's vote. A handful of House lawmakers, including some in battleground districts, are floating the idea of supporting a primary challenge against him. Activists are organizing efforts to punish him financially. Schumer is facing questions within his own caucus about whether he made strategic errors in handling the high-stakes moment and failed to outline a clear plan about how to deal with the complex politics of a shutdown, according to interviews with 6 lawmakers or their aides. Some Democrat senators are even privately questioning whether he should stay on as leader. Quote, he's done a great deal of damage to the party, says Ezra Levin, co-founder of the liberal group Indivisible, which has scheduled an emergency call Saturday with its New York chapter and other local leaders to, quote, seriously consider if the current leadership is equipped to handle the moment we're in. In a remarkable sign of how deep the intra-party frustration with Schumer runs, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries refused to throw his fellow New Yorker a life raft. Asked by reporters on Friday if there should be new leadership, he said, next question. And I've got that clip, by the way. I'm going to play that here in 1 second. Because this is telling. And I'm going to explain in part why I'm so kind of keyed up on this. But just trust me. Anyway, I've got the clip here. So this is the normal news conference that is had between House leadership, Democrats, Senate leadership, etc. And the three leaders of the House for the Democrats are out there. Hakeem Jeffries is taking questions. And I want you guys to hear this because this is pretty telling.
Is it time for new leadership in the Senate?
Next question.
Have you lost confidence in him? The fact that you guys see this so differently.
Next question.
Mr. Leader, why were you afraid to say anything about Schumer when you were asked?
No, not characterize.
No, my question was, why were you afraid to say anything?
Not characterize my remarks. I'm not afraid about anything. Anything.
You went to another question.
Anything.
Okay, I want to stop there for a second. And you will notice, Hakeem Jeffries is doing Schumer no favors here. Okay. I mean, like I said, I've watched a lot of politics in my time, and I know you guys have too. Okay, so I don't want to make myself out here to be the be all and end all of, the fount of political wisdom in America. I'm not. Okay, but I've watched this stuff for a long time. I ain't never seen this. Okay, normally if Democrats have a problem with each other, they take care of it behind closed doors. This is straight up out in the streets, knife fights. Okay. Against an old guard of the Democrat Party. And it's not like Chuck Schumer is some kind of, moderate Democrat, whatever the hell that is. No, I mean, Schumer's a straight down the line political lefty. Okay? He really is. I mean, if you go through whatever issue you're talking about with Chuck Schumer, he's a reliable Democrat vote for whatever crazy crackpot theory they've got about how the world ought to be run. Okay? And in one sense, I almost feel sorry for Schumer. Now, wait a minute before y'all get bent out of shape here. Okay, just hear me out. I did a couple of videos on this last week, and I analyzed Schumer's dilemma from a purely strategic standpoint, not ideological. Okay, I think Schumer on the issues is a straight up dirtbag. Okay. He really is. For a conservative like me, I don't agree with Schumer on much of anything, if anything at all. Okay. But from a strategic standpoint, there was nothing he could do. Truly. I mean, think about it for a minute. I think part of Schumer's problem was he counted on something to happen that did not happen. Because remember, very early in the week, nobody, and I mean nobody, thought that Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, was going to get a clean CR through. You had the Freedom Caucus. I totally respect you on that. I'm just talking about from a strategic standpoint. Not his issues. I mean, believe me, like I said, I think he's a dirtbag. Schumer was counting on the fact that the House would not pass a CR like what Trump wanted. Trump wanted one big, beautiful bill, and he got it. Now, honestly, give Johnson credit. You may disagree, and believe me, The spending levels in that CR are atrocious. Thomas Massey is absolutely right, by the way. Thomas Massey's absolutely right. We're not cutting a daggone thing here. So if we're going to do this, daggone it, in the next 6 months, we better be doing something. Okay? Because, I mean, on that point, I totally agree with Thomas Massey. But Johnson got it through. Now, and then not only did he get it through, Mike Johnson adjourned the House and said, okay, we're out of here. Threw it over to the Senate and said, okay, Chuck, what do you want to do? So now so there you are, you're Chuck Schumer. You're in the minority to start with. So you've got almost no leverage. The only leverage you've got is if you withhold about eight or nine votes to not be able to, close the debate, and that would force a government shutdown. So that's really the only leverage you've got if you're Chuck Schumer. So that's your leverage. That's your leverage point. And now you're faced with a nasty decision. Okay. Now you're faced with a very nasty decision. Okay. Do I and my fellow Democrats in the Senate withhold our votes? The CR does not pass, and the government shuts down at midnight on Friday, and we get blamed for it. Or do I give my guys the free rein? Do I give my guys the free rein to say, okay, this thing sucks, we don't like it, but we're not going to shut down the government, knowing full well if he does this, that he's going to face the ire of people inside his own party. Because there's also another consideration here. The way that Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and Trump teed this thing up, no matter what happened, Schumer's going to get blamed for it, especially if they don't vote to close the debate and then move the continuing resolution to a vote for final passage. They already had it teed up. And Schumer's kind of looking over the horizon going, okay, this is a fight we do not want to be in the middle of. Forget it. Okay. So that's why I say from a strategic standpoint, there's no good way for the guy to go here. Really. So Schumer did something that from my perspective was politically smart in the short term, and it might cost him in the long run. The smart play for him to do was what he did. Let his Democrats vote to close the debate, vote for the final passage of the CR, send it to Trump, Trump signs it, away we go. Okay? That's the short term. It's the smart play. He did it. His long-term problem is he's now got a revolt inside his own party. But I don't know that the revolt's going to hurt him that badly. Now, how bad is the anger of Democrats against Schumer right now? Van Jones was on Aaron Burnett's show on CNN. Yeah, I know. Believe it or not, CNN is still on the air. I know it's shocking. And Van Jones, who is, he's tied into the Democrat Party real good. He's a former Obama guy. He gets asked about this. Listen to his response.
Let's listen to Charlemagne the God, who is about as blunt as you are in his own way. This is his message for the Democratic leadership now.
You know why, Dems suck at messaging? Because they never talking about nothing. And they do nothing. So guess what? To me, they all got to go. Like Dems don't just have a messaging problem. They got a leadership problem. The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, they should all step down. And any Dem who isn't fighting for the people and standing with the party should be primary.
If ALC, Schumer doesn't run until I think 28. If he were up now and ALC primaried him, he would be out.
Now, that is the only saving grace from my perspective for Chuck Schumer. He's not up for re-election in 2026. If he were, then I think I agree with Van Jones. I think he's gone. The only thing that's going to save Schumer right now is that he's not up for 3 years. And a lot of things can change. But it's bad right now. I mean, it's bad like I ain't never seen this. Now, Schumer tried to defend himself on this, okay? Schumer went on with Jake Tapper, again of CNN News. Shocking, I know. CNN's still on the air. But he tried to defend himself on this to not what I would call very good effect. So with that, give me 1 second, folks, and we'll tee this up for you. We'll let you hear from the minority leader of the House himself. And in 1, 2, 3.
Your counterpart in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, was asked a question about whether he had faith in your leadership, whether he thinks you should stay Senate leader, and his response was, next question.
Look, Hakeem and I get along. We've known each other a very long time, but I expected when I did this. I think it was an act of strength, of courage, and I knew that most people wouldn't agree with me, but I'm confident I did the right thing, and I think history will vindicate that. You know, when you're in politics, you know what I've always said, the higher you climb up the mountain, the fiercer the winds blow. And the only way not to be blown off is to have your internal gyroscope. My internal gyroscope, my very thorough look at what would happen on either alternative, came to a strong conclusion, and that was that a shutdown would be much, much worse.
One last question, and then I know you have to go vote. And that is, earlier this week,
Gotta go vote.
Earlier this week, you said that the Republicans didn't have the votes to pass this. That seemed to send a signal to a lot of Democrats that you were going to stand up against it, and then they got confused when you said you were going to vote for it.
No, if you would have listened to my speech, I said we didn't have the votes yet, but the Democrats preferred, and it would have been much better, and that's what.
Come on. Okay, we're going to stop it right there, but I think you see what's going on. There is nothing Schumer can do here. I mean, like I said, from a tactical standpoint, Schumer did the right thing. There's no way, politically or public relations wise, they win this fight. Donald Trump's in the White House. He controls the bully pulpit. Okay? Schumer could have screamed from the top of Mount McKinley if he wanted to. Wouldn't have made a difference. Nobody would have heard him. Why? Because everybody's going to be paying attention to Trump. That is how much power the bully pulpit has. So tactically, he did the right thing. He absolutely did the right thing. So, I mean, it gets worse for Schumer. It truly does. He goes on with Chris Hayes of MSNBC. I know, it's shocking. MSNBC's still on the air, too. Yeah, I mean, exactly. He's got nowhere to go on this. Nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Be careful. They're not done. They're just confused about what to do. But I mean, for the Democrats, there's nothing good here. There is nothing good about any of this. Schumer did the right thing. People in his party can hate his guts for it all they want to, but if I'd been Schumer, I'd have done the same thing. I mean, look, the Republicans have the responsibility in the next 6 months to try. Notice I say try when it comes to the Republicans in Congress. The Republicans in Congress have 6 months to try and put a budget together. Okay? The Democrats have the obligation, on paper at least, to try to do everything they can to stop it, alter it, slow it down, change the spending levels, whatever you want, whatever words you want to use to describe. Their job is to oppose. If I were Schumer and I were in their shoes over in the Senate, I'd rather have 6 months of trying to oppose and offer an alternative than have it all come down to one vote, get blamed for it, and have your public opinion polls tank worse than what they are right now. The Democrats are in the sewer when it comes to public opinion about themselves. Okay? Truly, they are. No one, especially after that debacle with the State of the Union. Nobody likes them. They think they're mean. They think they're ineffective. They think they have no voice. Nothing. So, I mean, you know, like I say, Schumer's going to get blamed for this all the way through. Here he is with Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Check some of this out.
Ton of leverage. The one thing they have leverage is in the Senate where you need a filibuster-proof majority on a cloture vote. That there's essentially an unconstitutional assault on the government right now. And I think you would agree with that,
There
right?
is.
An assault on the constitutional
These guys are the worst, and we got to fight them every step of the
Now,
way.
watch Chris Hayes' reaction. They're the worst. We got to fight them every step of the way. Now, watch what Hayes does to Schumer.
As we say in Brooklyn, Chris, every step of the way.
But look, Russ Vought
We
is
are
already
fighting.
telling people, but he's telling people on the floor, we are not even going to listen to this CR. This is a piece of paper that we will impound and rip up the moment it's passed. If that's the case, how is voting for cloture not essentially an imprimatur on the very same assault on the constitutional order?
They're already, even without this CR, they're already doing it.
Right.
Okay? They did it to the Department of Education. But I can tell you, I've been through shutdowns before. It's not that this CR is good. It's not that voting for it is good. It's horrible. But the alternative is worse.
Have you ever seen a Democrat politician get chewed up the way that Chuck Schumer is? And I'm asking you a serious question here. Okay. Really. And I'm not trying to be naive. I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. I know there's a lot of political theater that goes on, and, you know, this is the uniparty. Okay. Particularly the Democrats and a certain faction of the Republican Party. Okay. I get it. Okay. But has anybody ever seen leftist media go after Chuck Schumer like they went after him on this? I never have. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me a lot of the Republicans in the House would try to do something that's positive, forward-thinking, everything else. It gets over the Senate, and Mitch McConnell would kill it. And why? Because he would negotiate with Chuck Schumer, and they do a deal, and McConnell would screw over the House. And then conservatives are like, you know, and legitimately so. Now, instead of McConnell, it's Schumer. And he's catching all kinds of hell over this. Okay? All kinds of hell. I mean, I find this to be fascinating. And like I say, oh no, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. I absolutely agree with you. And the thing is, so long as the Republicans control both houses of the Congress, Trump can keep on doing this to him. He can smack him around. You know, which is why if there's any one thing I'm worried about politically, that's the House race in 2026. The Senate, I'm not worried about. The Republicans will hold on to that. They'll probably pick up a couple of seats. But the one thing that worries me is I do not want to see a repeat of the first term, in the respect that Trump gets 2 years with Republicans controlling the House and Senate. They lose the House, and then the rest of his term is just fighting off Democrats. TBA over on Rumble says, I want to see more smacking of everyone. Oh, I disagree with you. I mean, excuse me, I agree with you, sir. I totally agree with you. Oh, I want to see him smacked around. But this inside the Democrat Party right now, it's getting loud. Matter of fact, here's an article from Newsweek. Headline: AOC urged to primary Chuck Schumer amid GOP funding bill backlash. This was published yesterday around 5:30 in the evening. Article by Andrew Stanton. We've got the following. As Senator Chuck Schumer faces criticism of supporting a GOP-backed funding bill, many Democrats are calling Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to launch a primary challenge against him. Newsweek reached out to Ocasio-Cortez and Schumer's team via email for comment. Like I said, folks, the only saving grace Chuck's got right now, where his political hide is concerned, the only saving grace he's got right now is that he's not up in 2 years. Now, oh, really? Really? She has said she's doing it? Now, it's not that I don't believe you. I just hadn't seen that yet. I knew people were urging her to do it, but you know, oh man, this could get really good. Really, really good. Oh my word. Interesting. Very good indeed. This I gotta watch. Okay. All right. I'm not saying you got to do it right now, Gypsy, but at some point, shoot that to me, because we'll either talk about today or I'll do a video on that, because I want to see this. I really want to see this. You know, if that's the case, we've got a war on our hands. And here's the thing. I was talking with the lady this morning, and she asked me, how old is Schumer? She said, he's got to be in his 80s. And I said, no, he's only 74. She said, really? Only 74. I was like, yeah, by Senate standards, he's still young. But it kind of got me thinking about something else after we stopped talking to each other this morning, and I was getting ready for the show. I said, you know, Schumer would be, what, 76 or 77 when he goes for re-election in 28, if he even chooses to do so. But I tell you what, the people around him, oh my gosh. I'm sure all of you guys are aware of Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, Democrat. He is the Senate Minority Whip. Okay. He's the guy responsible for getting the vote count among the Democrats and be like, okay, everybody voting with us? All right, we're good. I did not realize Dick Durbin's 81. I did not realize that. And his seat is up next year. Now, it's Illinois. Do I think that they'd elect a Republican out there? I doubt it. But my point is this. You know how I've been saying that we're going through? Oh, I know. Durbin's a snake. Durbin is a snake. But you know how I've been saying that we are now in the midst of a generational change in American politics? Let's assume for a moment that Schumer stands for re-election in New York State in 3 years. Okay. Well, hell, by the time he gets there, how many of his old buddies is he going to have around him? Now, and I'm serious about this. Durbin's 81. Okay. He's 80, excuse me. He'll be 81 on his birthday. And if he's reelected, he'd be 82. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Durbin's 80 years old right now. If Durbin goes for re-election next year, which he could, more power to him if he does. If he thinks he's capable of doing the job and he doesn't feel like he's lost a step, fine, let him do it. It's his choice. But Durbin's going to be 81 years old. There's not any real hope in sight of the Democrats getting the House back anytime soon. Seriously, because 2026 doesn't look good for them. Then they're going to go into the teeth of a presidential election in 2028. It's not looking real good they could get the Senate back anytime soon. So if you're Durbin, Even though at 81 years old, you're healthy and you're strong and your brain is good, do you really want to stick around for this? Patty Murray, who is the Democrat ranking minority member on the budget committee, she's 74. Bernie Sanders is in his 80s. Now, granted, he's up in Vermont, so I mean, the odds of electing a Republican up there are like slim and none, but you get my point. There's going to be a lot of new faces in the U.S. Senate before it's all said and done. Seriously. They will, I mean, you know, getting back to Schumer, even if Schumer stands for re-election in 2028, which he could, does he really want to stick around for this? Okay. All right. Hang on a minute. Okay, I want to see this. And then you got AOC. Okay. All right, hang on a minute. We got some late breaking here, folks. Compliments to Gypsy. And yeah, I will put these up. Give me 1 second here, folks. Okay. Compliments to Miss Gypsy. We have the following. And this apparently broke yesterday. Let me pop this up on screen. From Bad Hombre, I'll say he's one of my regular sources, but, you know, there you go. Take it for what it's worth. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will mount a primary challenge against incumbent Senator Chuck Schumer in 2028, according to a source with knowledge of the matter. AOC has expressed she can run as a populist, a grassroots campaign to replicate her defeat of powerful New York Democrat incumbent Joe Crowley in 2018, this time at a statewide level. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. But we'll talk about that here in a second. And one more. I've got like a compliments of Fox News. We've got a clip. Let me pull this up here and let you guys listen to it. This is from Fox News. So give me 1 second. In 3, 2, 1.
The deadline to avoid a government shutdown is midnight tonight.
Oh, come on. Do not do this to me. Do not.
The Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, is backing down on his fight to block Trump's agenda, handing the president a big win.
Aisha Hasni is live on Capitol Hill with all the details for us. Hey, Aisha.
Hey, good morning to you guys. So we are expecting that vote on cloture to happen about 1:15 this afternoon. That is the most important vote.
Okay, folks, I'm going to save you all from having to suffer through that. But yeah, you see the point. Apparently, it hasn't even started raining here. It hasn't even started raining here. Not even started raining, and it's just, my internet is just absolutely afoul. And I hate this. Sorry, folks. But yeah, apparently it looks like she's going to do it. She's going to run against him. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But I'm telling you right now, if I'm going to be another thing that's going to come out of all this, I'm going to be very curious to see how much more aggressive Mike Johnson gets when it comes to trying things like he just did. What he did with that move of passing the CR and then adjourning the House, that's pretty bold. I mean, for Mike Johnson, that's definitely pretty bold. So, you know, we'll see. Winning begets winning. Maybe he gets a little more confidence. So we'll see what happens here. Anywho, tell you what, we're going to do a real quick. Now I'm even scared to try that. And I was going to do something that's sort of a palate cleanser before we go on to our next. Story. Yeah, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. You guys want to see something real cute before we get on to our next story? Did you guys see the Trump and little X the other day? Thought you guys might get a kick out of this. Check it out. Ugh. Never mind. It's not going to let me do it. Ugh. Oh yeah, and I'm doing my best to play this. Let me try it another way and see if it's gonna. Oh well, no. Sorry about this, folks. My internet signal is I know. It's just aggravating as all get out. Well, I tell you what. I'll do this for you. If you have not seen this yet, okay. If you have not seen this, I'm going to drop this on both sides. Check out that link. If you want something that'll just kind of warm your heart, I really recommend this one to you. I think you would enjoy it. Okay, real quick commercial. We're going to move on here. And apologies for the bad internet buffering and everything else. It's apparently the weather is really messing around with everything. So apologies to everybody. But at any rate, my name is Brian Tripp, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative, and this live stream is known as Front Porch Brunch. We are getting together on Saturday mornings on a regular basis, and we're talking about the news. We're giving our views on all of it and letting you guys know what we think. So if you like this sort of thing, give a thumbs up, give a subscription. We'd appreciate all that. Thank you for all you guys do. You guys are absolutely fantastic. All right, let us move on to something that's a very, very serious story. And I mean this in all sincerity. This was alluded to. Well, actually, Tracy talked about this on her channel Wednesday night when we got together for the newsroom. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to Tracy Barkley, her channel is called Gen X Marks the Spot. And Tracy is probably one of the best content creators out there. So please, if you're not giving her a look, do so. Give her a subscription. She is a really, really good one. Really good one. All right. Tracy talked about this the other night on her channel. And Monday night, a young man who worked for Alex Jones's organization called InfoWars, his name was Jamie White. He was murdered outside of his apartment in Austin, Texas. Well, that was bad and tragic enough. Then all of a sudden, a lot of conservative content creators started being swatted. Now, just to give you an idea who all's involved, this is from the Twitter poster named Amuse. Gunther Eagleman, Nick Sotor and his family, by the way. Chase Geisner was swatted 3 times so far. Sean Farash, Philip Buchanan, Joe Pags, great radio talk show host, absolutely fantastic guy. Mike Eagleman, Walter Kurt, Cat Turd. You guys are familiar with the Twitter poster Cat Turd. He's got a Rumble channel, among other things. He's been swatted. Now, what is swatting, you might ask? Well, that's a good question. The best definition that I can give you that makes it real easy to understand is this. Swatting is a form of criminal harassment that involves deceiving emergency services, a dispatcher particularly, into sending a police or emergency response team to another person's address. This is triggered by false reporting of a serious law enforcement emergency such as bomb threat, domestic violence, murder, hostage situation, or a false report on mental health. The first time that I ever heard of a swatting was actually Chrissy Mayer. And the fact that it happened to Chrissy just blew my mind. Okay. Because, look, yeah, she's got some takes. and she's on the conservative libertarian side of the aisle. But Chrissy's good people, okay? She's a comedian. She's trying to make people laugh. She's got her own live stream, her own channel, her own podcast. And, oh, yeah, Chrissy's had it happen to Tim Pool's another one. Tim Pool's had it happen to him. A guy out in Minnesota that I, enjoy listening to his radio show because I think he's irreverently funny. Aaron M. Holt had it happen to him. So basically it goes like this. Somebody calls 911 and says, "Oh my God, I'm hearing screams and gunfire coming from inside this house. Here's the address. Will you send someone over?" Well, the dispatcher doesn't know any better. Dispatcher, sends out the cops, the SWAT team, whatever. And all of a sudden you got guys with, heavy weaponry. Really? Juanita Broderick had it happen. Oh my God. Yeah, this is like, for Cat Turd, this is like the fourth time this has happened. I believe this happened to Nick Rekieta a while back. Yeah, I mean, this is nuts what's going on right now. And it's all in the space of a week. It's like, I mean, it started off with this poor young man who was murdered in Austin, Texas, Jamie White. And all of a sudden, you've got, major social media influencers who are getting swatted all over the place. Matter of fact, I think I've got a clip here. Yeah, I've got the clip of Joe Pags. I think my internet's not going to do anything weird to me, so let's try this. Here's Joe Pags describing what happened to him. He was on with Steve Bannon show, War Room, and check it out.
I called 911, got the county sheriff. I said, I need to know, there's my address. This is.
Well, I said it wasn't going to conk out on me.
Who I am. Is there somebody at my house right now? She said, yes, sir, there is. We got a call. 2 dogs were shot dead. Family is hiding in the basement. I said, we're in Texas. Basements here. So listen, here's who I am. You probably know who yes, sir, we did. Public figure. This is probably a swatting. Tell the guy to put the gun down. Not down, like take it off, and just point the muzzle down. I'll come out with my hands up. Let's clear this up right now. There is no distress, no peril at my house.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because I can finish the rest of the story. So Pags has a camera surveillance system. It's motion censored. And he's one of those guys who just does not sleep at night. Chris, I saw your message over there on Rumble. Brother, thank you for being here this morning. Glad to have you. By the way, check out My Morning Mayhem on Rumble. Chris has got an absolutely fabulous channel, so check him out and give him a sub if you're not subscribed to him. So Pags is up late working one night, and, his phone goes off, and he turns on the cameras, and he sees this guy walking around outside carrying an automatic rifle. Pags calls the 911, says, "Hey, have you dispatched somebody outside my house?" Well, it wasn't just one guy in the front yard. There were 4 different officers that had been dispatched to his house. This is crazy what's going on right now. Like I said, it's happening to some major people, to the point that the FBI director, Kash Patel, has gotten involved. Here's an article from the Post Millennial. FBI Director Kash Patel vows to crack down on swatting incidents against conservative journalists and influencers. Article by, who wrote this? Was it Libby? Nope, it was not Libby Emmons, one of the members of staff. FBI Director Kash Patel put out a statement on Friday in response to the swatting incidents against conservative influencers over the past week, of which there appear to be at least 7. Swatting is when a suspect calls in a fake 911 call saying that an individual seeking to harm somebody else, causing officers to respond in force to the address given. Quote, "I want to address the alarming rise in swatting incidents against targeting media figures. The FBI is aware of this trend, and my team and I are already taking action to investigate and hold those responsible accountable. This isn't about politics. Weaponizing law enforcement against any American is not only morally reprehensible, but also endangers lives, including those of our officers. This will not be tolerated. We are fully committed to working with local law enforcement to crack down on these crimes. More updates to come. Okay. Folks, this is getting dangerous. And my question is, I mean, it's obvious to me, it's obvious this is coordinated. Okay. My question is, by who? And I'm not trying to stir the drink any more than what it already is. Believe me, it's stirred up enough. But my question is, who's doing this? Okay. Is this just domestic? Is this international? Some people have allegedly said, hey, we're speaking out against Ukraine, the Ukraine war. Maybe, elements from outside the country are doing this. We don't know. But for a lot of the content creators that we know, we love, we respect, they're going through a bad way right now. And I don't know, man. I do not know. Not good stuff. Not good stuff at all. Okay. Yeah, I can hear the wind whipping up out there, so that storm must be heading my way. All right. We're going to jump right into HodgePodge stew. And some things I found, some things I didn't. One thing I was sent, and this is compliments of Gypsy. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon, correct? Okay. So Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon were animals that were taken rather violently, by the way, from their owner in upstate New York. And the manner in which it all happened set off a very strong libertarian response amongst animal lovers, and even not if you weren't an animal lover. Okay? If you're not an animal lover, what happened to Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon was kind of bad. Good morning, my dear. Glad to have you here, Miss Jessica. Happy St. Patty's. Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely. There were people who were absolutely talking this one up big time when it happened. Okay. Well, apparently there's a follow-up to all this. From judicialwatch.org, headline, Judicial Watch sues New York State for records on controversial killing of Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon. We have the following article. Dateline, Washington, D.C. Judicial Watch announced today that it filed a Freedom of Information lawsuit against New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for records about the seizure, testing, and euthanizing of a squirrel named Peanut and a Fred named Raccoon belonging to the Pine City, New York resident Mark Longo. Judicial Watch filed the suit in the Supreme Court of the state of New York, Albany County, after the Department of Environmental Conservation failed to comply with 2 FOIL requests for written and video records related to Peanut and Fred. The first, filed on November 6, 2024, seeks the following. All New York State Department of Environmental Conservation records related to the seizure, testing, and euthanasia of animals, including a squirrel named Peanut and a raccoon named Fred, belonging to a Pine City, New York resident named Mark Longo, on or about October 30th and November 1st. Such records shall include, but shall not be limited to, complaints filed with the New York SDEC, internal New York SDEC communications, including emails and text messages, communications between NYSDEC and the Kemchung County Department of Health, investigative reports, incident reports, and laboratory reports. Now, and they filed a second motion for more information. Since November, New York State Agency has granted itself 2 30-day extensions and then a 60-day extension to respond to Judicial Watch. 10 government agents from the state departments of environmental conservation and health reportedly showed up at Longo's home where he operates an animal sanctuary, took his squirrel and raccoon, later euthanizing him. Quote, they treated me like I was a terrorist. They treated this raid like I was a drug dealer. They ransacked my house for 5 hours. Longo told the New York Post that Peanut the Squirrel was popular on social media. The event sparked public outrage. Well, that's just putting it mildly. Quote, The heartless killing of Peanut the squirrel by New York State bureaucrats shocked America, said Judicial Watch Tom Fenton. And now these same bureaucrats don't want to turn over one document about Peanut's death and their abusive raid on Peanut's home. Judicial Watch's lawsuits aim to get to the bottom of this abuse of governmental power. Now, and I had forgotten about certain aspects of this. I'd forgotten about certain aspects of this, and Longo is right. Agents from New York State spent 5 hours at their house, okay, searching everywhere. And for what, I ask you? In the end, they took a squirrel, they took a raccoon, and they had him euthanized. Because somebody called in a complaint on these people. And when he says that, Peanut the squirrel was popular on social media, he's right. Because one of the other aspects of the story is that, Longo had, been, I won't say using, but more or less comes what it comes out to. Peanut the squirrel had his own Instagram channel. And people would tune in to try to tune in to try and cheer themselves up, maybe from bad times they were going through, etc. And, I'm glad Judicial Watch is doing this, frankly. I really am. Truly, I am. I think this is good. So, all right, one more thing, and then we're going to bring it to a conclusion because I've got company coming in. Lawsuits are brought for all kinds of different reasons. And here's one that I don't know if you guys had heard about the other day, but this harkens me back to McDonald's and the coffee. You remember that one? Lady sued McDonald's over the coffee being too hot, which actually, that may have been justified, okay? But there's a whole lot of other circumstances that go into that. Try this one on for size. A woman sues Samsung for $1.8 million. Now get this. Why? After her cell phone gets stuck inside her vajayjay. The McDonald's coffee lady, yes, that's true. That is true. I agree with you there. But yeah, this woman is suing Samsung for $1.8 million. Why? Not because the phone was defective, necessarily. Not because of anything else. Yeah. She put it inside her woohoo. Okay, that's a new one on me. Exactly. Going back to the swatting incident, and I want to bring this up. Remember when creators X was attacked? Believe this is how they got for the creators, for the doxing information. Could be. Could very well be. Going back to that story about the Samsung lawsuit, WWG1 says, what did she do? Sit on and vibrate and call herself? I don't know. Anyway, folks, it is about 12 o'clock on Saturday, and I'm going to go ahead. Brian, did you read the top of the post? If she wins, I'm shoving a Tesla up my rear end. Oh, my God. No, I did not realize that, but thank you. Anyway. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and bring the train into the station. Like I said, it's 12 noon on a Saturday, and the internet is really getting sketchy. So for everybody's sake and for other reasons, I'm going to go ahead and bring it to a close. I want to thank you guys for being here this morning for Front Porch Brunch. We're going to be back this week with videos, live streams, that sort of thing. Thank you for all you guys do to support the channel, for the laughs, the memes, everything. You guys are absolutely fantastic. So with that, we're going to bring it to a conclusion. I want you guys to have a great weekend. And if I don't talk to you between now and Monday, have a fantastic fantastic St. Patty's Day. And remember the words of that great American philosopher Tom T. Hall when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys very much. Have a great St. Patty's Day weekend.